Today is National Close the Gap Day, and after the most recent report card saw many targets stall or go backwards, there are calls for a renewed focus and energy for the cause. The coalition of more than 50 Indigenous organisations behind Close the Gap Day have released a report today calling for greater and faster change.
They've also called for the complete implementation of the Uluru Statement from the Heart of Voice, Makarrata and Truth. Dan Bourchier is the ABC's Voice and Referendum correspondent. He joins us now from Gadigal land in Sydney. Dan, good morning. What were the key recommendations of the report?
Yeah, Michael, good morning. Well, the report said that it's a case of consolidation and new targets. It also made a point of pointing to some of the images and the vision that was very confronting that we saw coming out of Alice Springs, saying that that's a key example of where there hasn't been the sort of change and reform that's required. The report makes 10 recommendations that go to the 17 targets. Chief amongst those is to reduce the life expectancy gap. That's more than 11 years for Aboriginal men and more than 9 years for Aboriginal women. And the report looks at different mechanisms of how to do that. And you pointed out that more than 50 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisations are behind Close the Gap. Well, they've put forward what they think are the ways forward, and that means a lot of programs that are being driven from the community level. And this is really a report that goes to that. That it also points to the two recommendations that are on track: employment and of Indigenous adults and also land rights. But there are 7 that are. This report, Strong Culture, Strong Youth, Our Legacy, Our Future, is really pointing to the future and looking very squarely at those recommendations around young people predominantly, Michael.
And what did the report say about the Uluru Statement from the Heart?
Well, interestingly, it included a recommendation for the full completion of the Uluru Statement, so an enshrined voice within the Constitution, of which we're having a very national debate about right now, a Makarrata Commission, which is a Yolngu term that means coming together for a process of agreement-making after conflict, and then also a policy and process around national truth-telling. That's certainly something we've heard from Linda Burney, the Minister for Indigenous Australians, the day after Garma. When I was speaking to her right here on News Channel, she said that there would be processes and that what she was seeing across the nation was like 1,000 flowers blooming. The processes around truth-telling in the arts, in sport, in government, academia and the media that she says is so important to having this full conversation. Now, interestingly, Michael, this comes as today, of course, the referendum working group is meeting in Adelaide, as you've just been talking about, with members of Cabinet. There have also been a number of prominent Indigenous people from that group speaking to the media in recent days. Sean Gordon, who is the chairman of Uphold and Recognise, who sits on that group, was speaking to me on the drum last night, saying that really he expected there to be a frank and full discussion today as we head towards the final wording. Thomas Mayer was on Radio National just this morning saying that the reporting around some of the words that the Attorney General is reported to have put forward haven't been supported by that group. So we're really expecting that today we're likely to get a sense or the final wording that Cabinet will deliberate on before a decision's made about what words we'll all be voting on sometime later this year.
Dan Bourchier, thank you.